I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, one of the things that in April we celebrate Earth and Arbor Days, so I just want to reflect that both days remind us of how important it is to cherish and protect our planet and the importance of taking care of nature and of seeking sustainable choices that can safeguard our planet for our future generations. Thank you.
Second. Councilmember Ferguson.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskin.
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig.
Yes.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Madam Clerk, has the correspondence been directed to the appropriate departments?
Yes, Madam President, the correspondence received by the City Clerk's office was forwarded to the appropriate departments for further action.
Thank you. Then we have ordinance for discussion and second reading. We have an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.12, Traffic Control Regulations, Schedule 4, One-Way Streets, and Chapter 10.16, Stopping, Standing, and Parking. This is time to do parking meters. This is in reference to Morris Street. Does any of my fellow council members have any questions or comments on this? Mr. Dominguez, if you could just give us a quick overview of this particular ordinance, please.
Certainly. So last year, the city amended the ordinance to change this to a one-way street in an effort to create additional parking on Morris Street. And while that was effective, the Bravo has seen a negative impact in terms of its business and its clientele from the reorientation of the roads. And so we're seeking to reorient to the previous model back to two ways. We'd lose the 2 or 3 parking spaces that we added, but we do not want to negatively impact the Bravo for just the gain of 2 or 3 parking spaces.
Thank you. At this time, we are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only. You have up to 5 minutes per person, one time off. If any member of the public wishes to speak to the council of this particular ordinance, please come forward. Seeing none.
Move the ordinance. Second.
Councilmember Ferguson.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskins.
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig.
Yes.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Then we have ordinances on first reading. Number 1 is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, parking zones for handicapped persons. This is, we are adding 106 Carlos Boulevard and 323 Somerset Street.
I move the ordinance setting out April 17, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Same date to be advertised. Second.
Councilmember Ferguson.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskin.
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig.
Yes.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Then resolutions 1 to 27. Before we go into opening the floor for the public for comments. Oh, I'm sorry, number 2. I jumped. Sorry.
No problem.
I jumped. You see, I'm ahead of myself. Number 2, an ordinance to adopt a redevelopment plan for the New Brunswick Eastern Somerset Transitional Redevelopment Plan area in the City of New Brunswick.
I move the ordinance setting out April 17, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Same date to be advertised.
Second.
Councilmember Ferguson.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskin.
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig.
Yes.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Now we're going into resolutions 1 to 27. Before we go into open the floor, like I was saying to the public, does any of my fellow council members have any questions or any comments on any of the resolutions? Having none, I would like to just to ask like a few that I would like for Lieutenant Hoover. Resolution 15 and 16, if you could talk a little bit about those, brief overview of those 2.
15, that is federal money, that is for statute violations such as careless driving, DWI, texting, using your phone while you're driving. I'm not sure of the terms, so I can get that for you if you want. Should be like this spring, summer into early next year. 16 is similar, but it's state funding, and that is targets pedestrian-related offenses, failures to yield to a pedestrian in a crosswalk, careless driving, stuff like that, anything that has anything to do with pedestrians.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Dominguez on 22, if you could talk a little bit about 22, please.
Certainly, Council President. As many other municipalities in New Jersey have used for their urban enterprise zones for public safety, the city of New Brunswick is looking to model and request funds to have a police walking beat for our urban enterprise zones funded with the urban enterprise zone money. We have to adopt a resolution in order to submit application to use the funds that we've been allocated.
Thank you. And last but not least, 25 and 26, Deputy Chief Cass, please, if you could just give us an overview.
Sure. 25 is a safer grant, which we're applying for 10 firefighters to increase our staffing levels. And 26 is a fire prevention and safety grant. There's some programs we'd like to apply for and bring to the city.
Thank you. And I just want to add that 25, the 10 firemen, the grant is to include the salary, right, and benefits for 3 years.
That's correct. The salary and benefits for 10 firefighters for the first 3 years.
Thank you. At this time, we are getting ready to open the floor for the public. If you have any questions on the resolutions only, please go forward. One time up, 5 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Charlie Crowder, New Brunswick today. Only a few resolutions to ask about tonight. 413 is a drone show scheduled for tonight. Is that still going to happen? Do we know?
Do we know if it's still happening?
I doubt it. It's likely that hopefully tomorrow's weather will be cooperative.
Okay, so the alternate date is tomorrow. Okay, and any idea what exactly is planned? Is we making visuals in the sky for people to admire?
Bruce, do you have any information on what this drone show entails?
This was at the request of, there is it's a little bit of a personal matter for a patient in the hospital across the street.
Okay.
And this is done to commemorate their birthday.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that, appreciate it.
This came from a volunteer at the hospital.
Okay.
Thanks. I'll move on to 422, the UBZ funds for public safety. Thank you for asking the question, Mr. Dominguez. I would like to understand, how far the 350,000 will go. Does this mean every day for a year there'll be one officer on the beat, or is there, expectation that comes along with this funding?
So, yes, Mr. Dominguez.
If I could help Mr. Dominguez, I think it's important to understand, Mr. Dominguez, how that number came about first, so that it's not a matter of what we can get for it. It's more about where the caps are, what we can ask for, and how we apply it.
So if Mr. Dominguez, if you could just talk a little bit about that.
Right, so in terms of funding that we get annually, we're allowed to allocate up to 25% toward public safety projects. So this is a conservative estimate of what 25% would be in terms of an ability to project it forward into future years with estimated growth for the allocations that we'll be getting. The amount of officers we will be targeting daily service in these areas. The exact number of officers and hours will be determined as it's fleshed out toward the final submission. This authorizes to go up to 350 in the resolution to not exceed, but we're going to work within those parameters to tighten it up and just get it perfect when we submit and get authorization from the DCA. But this allows us to go up to that limit in our 25% bonds.
Thank you. And if Mr. Dominguez, if you don't mind, if you could talk a little bit about explaining again or identifying what is our UEC area.
So the state designated certain parts of New Brunswick as urban enterprise zones many years ago, probably a couple of decades ago now. They're generally commercial corridors, so most of downtown is in the UEZ. Easton Avenue, I think up to Bartlett Street's in the UEZ, French Street's in the UEZ, pretty much the entire industrial area, down Jersey Avenue and the side streets over there are in the UEZ, and then it would stretch all the way out to Route 1 to encapsulate Sears, or the former Sears location as part of the urban enterprise zone without the map. The map is very irregular, so it's hard to exactly lay out, but those are kind of like the highlights of the portions of the city that are in the UEZ. The funding would be targeted primarily at the more centralized urban commercial corridors, primarily George Street, Easton, French Street, with potential to, go into all the other areas, but with a primary focus on the highly trafficked and active areas.
Thank you.
I think that's all.
Yes.
Mr. Dominguez, does that include the Remsen Avenue district?
Yes, a portion of Remsen Avenue is in the urban enterprise zone.
Anybody else on the resolutions? Seeing none?
Move the resolution. Second.
Councilmember Ferguson,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskins.
Yes.
Councilmember Secor Ludwig.
Yes.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Thank you. At this, any council members want to say something, anything that you would like to share before we go into the portion part of the meeting? No? So, at this time, before we go, I just wanted, there was a few updates, two updates from the last meeting. I know there were some questions about, the emergency services and city, so we do not have an answer for you tonight. We're working on it, and we will try to provide an update by the next meeting. Also, there's questions, allegations that the police department doesn't give tickets, traffic tickets, and that they're not doing their job. So we're trying to compile some information also that hopefully we will have readily available for the next meeting to address some of those allegations that there's traffic tickets that will be issued. So that's all. So we will not make any comments at this meeting related to that at this time. So now we are preparing to open the floor for the public for any questions. You have up to 5 minutes, one time up. So at this time, if any member of the public wishes to address the council, please come forward.
Good evening once again, Charlie Prattville. I was intending to ask you last time, but I know you had to leave the meeting early. Do you think Council President, U.S. Senator Robert Menendez should resign his office?
I don't think here's what I think, but personally, I think that he shouldn't be doing it anymore. He should be something.
He should resign. Okay. Thank you for that. I was curious if anybody on the council has any reactions to the recent federal court decision regarding ballot design in New Jersey. And making it so when you run for re-election, you wouldn't be bracketed with other candidates running for other offices at the federal or state level. Is that something you support? Do you have feelings on that ruling?
I don't at this moment on this. Anybody else wishes to express anything?
I technically have to abstain from that, Mr. President, because you know that issue might come across the New Jersey legislature, and you have to abstain because of the legislature.
All right. I do want to raise concerns about these crashes involving city vehicles. So there's a couple unanswered questions regarding the fire director. I had asked previously, how much did the lawsuit regarding his crash in May 2014 cost the city? I believe the case was settled last year. Did anybody look into that? Is there an amount that was paid to settle that case?
I'm writing down your questions.
Thank you. And the other question outstanding is, when were the fire director's privileges to drive city-owned vehicles revoked?
I thought we had answered that. We answered that at the last meeting.
So was it after the January 9th crash, or was it after I brought it up at the microphone here? I didn't get a date. I asked for a specific date when that happened.
I thought we gave that information, right, Mr. Cruz?
That was you, yes.
Let me
Well, if I'm mistaken, you could just give it again then?
I will see. If you look at the video, I know you have it.
I got the video, and trust me, I would remember, because it's
We'll see.
something I'm looking
Anything else,
into.
Mr. Cardinal?
But yeah, I'm very concerned about crashes involving city vehicles. March 6th, a New Brunswick Fire Department pumper truck crashed into a traffic light post. February 21, a New Brunswick police vehicle smashed into another vehicle, apparently while making an illegal U-turn. And then on February 2nd, a worker for the city was involved in a crash, and that worker, I'm assuming it's a worker because they're driving a city vehicle, but this individual was charged with license or registration being suspended. So I have the copy of that crash report. I'll hand it to the clerk. There's enough for everybody. Yes, thank you, clerk. And yeah, so I was curious, this charge, is this a charge for the person not having a valid license? Or, and if so, what were they doing driving a city vehicle if they didn't have a valid license?
Anything else, Mr. Cardinal?
I do have some other questions, but I was hoping somebody could answer that one.
I think we have an answer at this point. I will answer at the next week.
Okay, I do, through you, Madam Chair, I do need to ask Councilman Fleming, who is now running for re-election, if he can tell us why he's seeking re-election and what his accomplishments are that he wants the voters to know about.
Well, we're not campaigning right here. It's not a forum for campaigning, but I think that, you know, we're pretty sure he will answer that question if he feels that he needs to answer later on, or if they ask again, or whatever.
Maybe after the meeting, we could do a quick interview?
It's up to him whether he wants to answer those questions, but he's not the forum. He's not a
Okay,
campaign.
that's fair. Would he be willing to give an interview after the meeting? He says no. So I'm going to bring up the fact that our money, taxpayer money, has gone to defend Mr. Fleming in a sexual harassment lawsuit that's been brought up here before, and I'd like an update on the lawsuit since the city is paying. Is there any update on the matter of McCoy versus Fleming? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, April Nicholas from the Free City Alley. So a couple of topics I'd like to talk about, both of which I've brought up previously at a number of meetings. One is that on Friday I did attend the virtual hearing about the community energy plan. I was hoping that that would provide some more substantive information about what the plan actually was, since we just got a very bare bones handout at the council meeting. There wasn't any other information provided up front, but one of the surprising things that I came to know from some back and forth conversation is that apparently, and you know, I'm surprised that this would be the case, but I don't have any information to the contrary, so I'm going to assume that it's correct. Apparently the grant only allowed for planning for emission reductions from government-produced sources, so emissions produced by the municipality, and specifically not addressing any of the issues with regards to energy consumption or use by the community, which is a little strange to me because it's called a community energy plan, but the community is, I guess, explicitly not included in what the plan is seeking to address. So I'm assuming that that's true. Someone can correct me if that information is not quite correct. I know it was set up off the cuff, so I understand if things are not 100% accurate, and the planning process for getting this grant was a year or more ago. But I do, on that note, want to point out that obviously the vast majority of emissions that are produced in New Brunswick are produced by the community and businesses in New Brunswick, not by the government itself. And so the community energy plan really is missing most of what the problem is. And I understand we have to start somewhere, and something is better than nothing, and electric vehicles are good, energy efficiency in use of buildings is good,
reducing the red tape with permitting for solar is good, all of that is good. So I do want to acknowledge that that is a good thing. But there's so much more, not just with addressing the energy needs and transition to clean energy, given the crisis with climate change. There's also so much more just beyond energy when it comes to climate action planning. There's resilience, there's adaptation. It's not just about the energy that we're directly consuming. It's about planting trees for carbon sequestration. It's about green infrastructure that will help manage stormwater better. There's so much more to it. And especially given your very nice acknowledgement of Earth Day and it being the time that more people are aware of the climate crisis and environmental problems, I'd like to ask again, does the city have any plans for undertaking climate action planning?
Mr. Julius.
Sure, so I'm sorry that the parameters of the plan didn't quite meet the expectations of our speaker. The plan does talk about community solar, and so I want to explore that a little further so you understand it's not just our buildings. But when you think about carbon footprint, what our buildings, what our emit, what our vehicles emit, that is where the city can start and have the most direct impact in this area. Not to say those other items that you're speaking of aren't important. It's just where can we be effective at first. And that was, DEP is the guiding agency for the city, and that is the direction that they put us in, and we put a lot of faith in their direction and guidance. The city is looking at stormwater and how they can reduce the impact of stormwater on a separate initiative. But all these things, as you well know, are very big projects. And I'm for one glad to see the guidance we're getting for the immediate things we can do that we have direct control over. As it comes to other entities, other businesses, as the impact of the city, I'm sure in time, the plan will grow to include them as well.
Thank you, Mr. Julius.
Right, and I'll acknowledge again, it is a good start, and we have to start somewhere, and it's good to start with, the lowest hanging fruit, so to speak. I will say that, the guidance from DEP and the 2050, I forget the exact name, it's a very long title, but Pathway to 2050 Climate Action Plan at the state level is hundreds of pages long, and as I mentioned in several questions that I asked during the Friday hearing, it does address a lot having to do with the relations of government and community, a lot beyond just what the government does with its own resources. And that's something that local governments have the power that no other entity really has to make a difference in their community. So I'd like to see more on that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else from the public?
Hi, yes, Danielle Morris. First matter I'm going to start on where, like I said, I wasn't happy at first, but then I'm looking at it in a different way. I'm not happy that I thank New Brunswick Police Department and you council members for thinking that you would really help Mr. Dean. But remember what I said, I asked, can someone please keep an eye on Mr. Dean due to where I am having serious matters. I'm about to lose my mom. I won't be able to keep my eye on him. But wow, it's been 2 weeks now. Mr. Dean was put in handcuffs right after the next day, after the meeting, thanking you due to where it's been 2 weeks. But one thing I'm going to say, I'm going to put due to where I do have power in me to help the good and help go for the bad. Where, like I said, I'm not going to take it bad matters due to where he is in the medical department. He is being treated well concerned. I will thank the city garbage workers for working with me, where I did provide a crew the last 3 weeks due to where I can't lift anything, but whatever, where we've been getting the garbage off of his property, even though I told you it was not him doing it. I feel shame that he's out there, but like I said, I wasn't going to, that was the Lord answering my call when I said, wow, I need someone to look after Mr. Dean. Next, due to where, I'm going to look at to you, Mr. Shandy, where the last time I told you, I will be filing a lawsuit against New Brunswick Police Department, where you looked at me and you smiled. Oh yes, I got the news yesterday saying, wow,
I can't get where my arm is torn in 3 situations due to why I have a pin in my arm. But wow, I can't get the surgery to have 4 pins in my arm because it would be worse. What, from New Brunswick Police Department, treating me like a damn criminal. Like I said, I was not resisting arrest. My arm wouldn't go. They tore it, and then that old son of a bitch, Alexander Younes, to make me sit there treating me like I was a damn criminal and let her out of damn handcuffs. May you feel the pain for the 6 to 12 months where they're telling me that I'm going to be feeling with pain medication and whatever it goes for my arm to really damn heal, where I won't be able to use it because of that old officer. And I'm going to pray that the Lord lets him have his day. He will have the worst luck in the world, Alexander Younes, for like I said, his hatefulness. Oh, do I have power in me? You saw what happened to Mr. Egan when he made fun of me with pain. And like I said, you're going to feel the pain as well. The Lord is going to make sure. And then the third thing I will say, wow, that's with Christian Ramirez Rodriguez. Oh, I'm on the county where they let him go February 9th. Wow, he's been arrested 5 times since February 9th. He's been arrested on March 11th. Attacking a police officer, hitting an EMS, spitting in the place. Yeah, he's being held with no bail. Now they're trying to deport him. No, make his ass do the crime. He did the crime. Make him do his time and then you deport him. No need to deport him and then what? The border's open, he can come back? Wow, why is a legal immigrant allowed to do crime here in New Brunswick? Because that's what part of where Sanctuary City is. How many videos, like I said, do I see how New Brunswick would respond to a black person than compared to an illegal immigrant? I have nothing against illegal. How many do I hug every day and tell them that I love them? Where what? We work together. What? Where some of them help me when what? Christian said, oh yeah, I remember you. I remember you. Yeah. How many of them defended for me with that crazy mannequin? But wow, let's see if he'd be free. Like I said, if you can't treat people at all, some of you people don't belong on this earth. And like I said, wow, and for him to hit an officer, hit an EMS, plenty more damn charges. No bail? Oh, let's see, and I will tell you, your boy, Philip Burrow, oh, I got on him. January 31st, he doesn't want to deal with the damn case due to where I had to told him I had it on record. You can't stop me from recording on Zoom. That's the first thing it says, do I want to record? Oh, Miss Moore, I have nothing against the court, and I don't have nothing to do with it. Wow, now that he knows that I have the damn video of him, ooh, Latino, hit and run, $200 fine. Latino, hit and run, $200 fine. A black man, loud music, $800 fine. Well, now he doesn't want to do the case anymore, but you will feel the pain.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. I just want to say that the laws are not made by the police department. It's the lawmakers, so sometimes the police have to abide by the law, regardless whether we agree with them or not. So we have to just start shifting the blame on the wrong person, right?
Well, you guys, excuse me, the law.
Time is up. So,
Yeah, you'll say all this time is up my mind, but nobody else is.
have a blessed day. So at this time, anybody else from the public? Say none? Motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Councilmember Ferguson.
I have to say, Councilmember
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Gaskin. Councilmember Sikora Ludwig. Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes.